Savannah Guthrie just posted old home videos and a photo of her mother, Nancy Guthrie, with her children. The caption reads, "Our lovely mom. We will never give up on her. Thank you for your prayers and hope." It's been 12 days since Nancy Guthrie went missing, and the bottom line is officials still have not identified a suspect. Nancy Guthrie's neighbors also received this alert on an app asking them to check their security camera footage on 2 dates. On January 31st, around the time a suspicious car was in the area, it's also the day Guthrie went missing. But they also want neighbors to look at January 11th between 9 p.m. to midnight, which was weeks before her disappearance. The Post also asked for footage of cars in the area.
69 days. That's how long Nancy Guthrie has been missing. 69 days since an 84-year-old woman simply vanished from her home in Tucson, Arizona. No trace, no confirmed suspect, no clear motive. And now, one of the most respected criminal profilers in the entire history of the FBI is weighing in. And what she's saying is sending chills down the spines of investigators and true crime followers alike. Today, we're breaking down everything. The profiler, the theory, the possible motive that almost nobody is talking about, and why the answer to this case might actually be buried somewhere in the past, possibly going back more than a decade. If you've been following this case, stay with me, because this is the most important update we've had in weeks. For those just catching up, Nancy Guthrie is the mother of today's show, anchor Savannah Guthrie. She disappeared from her Tucson home under circumstances that have baffled law enforcement, journalists, and the public ever since. There was no forced entry, no clear ransom demand that held up under scrutiny. A Bitcoin-related message surfaced at some point, but investigators never received a credible proof of life. There's some blood evidence, both inside and outside the home, but the trail goes cold almost immediately. It's as if Nancy Guthrie simply ceased to exist. Now enter Dr. Ann Burgess. If you've watched the Netflix series Mindhunter, you may recognize the character Dr. Wendy Carr. That character was directly inspired by Dr. Ann Burgess, a forensic profiler who helped build the FBI's behavioral analysis unit from the ground up. She has spent decades studying the psychology of violent offenders, working with victims of trauma, and developing the very methodology that the FBI uses to profile criminals today. When someone like her speaks about a case, you listen very carefully. And here is what she said that stopped me cold. She believes that motive in this case may not be financial at all. Yes, the Bitcoin message exists. Yes, $1 million reward has been offered. But Dr. Burgess pointed out something that many of us haven't fully considered. That reward has been sitting there, and it hasn't moved the needle. Nobody credible has come forward. Nobody with inside knowledge has taken the money. And to her, that says something important. It suggests that whoever did this isn't motivated primarily by money, or if they are, the fear of exposure outweighs the desire for the reward. Either way, that is a significant psychological signal. So if not money, then what? Dr. Burgess used a word that I keep coming back to: retribution. She raised the possibility that this could be about revenge, about getting even, about a personal grievance that has been simmering, possibly for years, possibly for more than a decade. She specifically referenced 2 high-profile cases that were recently solved, both of which involved grudges that had been held for 8 to 10 years before the perpetrator finally acted. Think about that. Someone can carry hatred or resentment for a decade, stay quiet, stay patient, and then strike when least expected. The Brown University professor case, the Massachusetts murder. These were not impulsive crimes. They were calculated, long held, was deeply personal acts of what the perpetrator considered justice. If the same dynamic is at play here, it means investigators can't just look at who was angry with Savannah Guthrie or Nancy Guthrie recently. They have to go back years. They have to dig into old conflicts, old grievances, old relationships that may have seemed resolved on the surface, but clearly weren't. Dr. Burgess also raised a second theory that I honestly hadn't thought about before, and once you hear it, you can't unhear it. She suggested that Nancy may not have been the intended target at all, that she was taken not because someone wanted her specifically, but because she is close to someone else. That taking her was the most painful thing someone could do to another person in her orbit. Think about who would be most devastated, Think about who would feel that loss more acutely than anyone. Nancy Guthrie is Savannah Guthrie's mother, and Savannah Guthrie is one of the most visible news anchors in America. She has millions of viewers. She has been on television for decades, and anyone who has spent any amount of time in the public eye knows that you accumulate a shadow following, including people who are not fans, people who are angry, people who feel wronged, sometimes for reasons that exist entirely in their own minds. Dr. Burgess confirmed that law enforcement almost certainly asked Savannah about threatening letters or disturbing communications she may have received over the years. And she noted that it doesn't have to be recent. Someone could have been fixated on Savannah for years, building resentment, watching, waiting for the right moment. And when they decided to act, they didn't go after Savannah directly. They went after the person closest to her, her elderly mother. Now, I want to be clear. None of this is confirmed. These are theories. Dr. Burgess herself was careful to say she's working with very limited information, just like the rest of us. But these are the kinds of theories that come from someone who has spent a career studying exactly these patterns of behavior. This isn't speculation from a social media armchair detective. This is informed professional analysis from one of the most experienced profilers in FBI history. She also spoke about something that has been frustrating investigators from the very beginning, which is the sheer rarity of this type of crime. Elder abductions are extraordinarily uncommon. When elderly individuals go missing, it is almost always due to wandering related to cognitive decline or financial exploitation that doesn't involve physical abduction. Actual kidnappings of elderly people are so statistically rare that there are almost no historical precedents to build a profile from. The FBI's profiling methodology depends heavily on comparing a current case to legacy cases, past cases with similar signatures. But here, the pool of comparable cases is nearly empty. That makes building a reliable profile exponentially harder. Add to that the DNA challenges Dr. Burgess described. Any DNA evidence collected from Nancy's home would have to be carefully sorted through to eliminate traces from family members, caregivers, and other known visitors. What you're left with may be a very small, potentially degraded sample. Not exactly the clean forensic breakthrough you'd hope for. And then there's the question of entry. How did someone get into that house? No forced entry was found. Dr. Burgess kept coming back to this point. Somebody got in. That is simply a fact. Whether they slipped in through the garage while it was open, whether they hid inside beforehand, whether they had some prior knowledge of the home's layout, someone got inside, and the way they did it could tell investigators a great deal about the level of planning involved, the familiarity with the property, and the kind of person they're looking for. Dr. Burgess also mentioned that Nancy apparently had access to a small enclosed outdoor area, a kind of private space where she would sometimes sit and read or write in a journal. If such a journal exists and investigators have it, and that could be an important resource. Not because it would name a suspect, but because it might contain references to concerns Nancy had, people she'd had conflicts with, interactions that felt off to her. Sometimes victims sense something before anyone else does. She did say something that will stick with me for a long time when the conversation turned to Savannah Guthrie herself. She said, "You don't move on. When a case is unsolved, when someone you love has disappeared and nobody has been held accountable, there is no closure. There is no moving forward. You exist in a permanent state of suspended grief." Savannah went back to work on the Today Show, and the world watched her sit at that desk. But Dr. Burgess made clear that going back to work is not the same as healing. It's endurance. It's getting through each day in the absence of answers. What Dr. Burgess recommends for people in Savannah's position, and for the broader community of people following this case and carrying their own fear about aging parents and vulnerable family members, is connection. She spoke about virtual support groups for families of missing persons, where people in similar situations can share their anxiety, support each other's searches, and find practical strategies for coping. Sometimes, she said, those groups even help crack cases because collective minds paying attention notice things that individuals miss. Before we wrapped up, Dr. Burgess made one final point that I think deserves to sit with you for a moment. She believes this case will eventually be solved. Not necessarily soon. These things can take time. But she believes it will be solved, primarily because she believes more than one person was involved. And when multiple people are involved in a crime, the psychological pressure over time becomes immense. People talk, guilt compounds, fear of the other person surfaces, and eventually someone breaks. The question is when? 69 days in, with no confirmed suspect, no proof of life, and $1 million reward that hasn't produced results, this case remains one of the most baffling disappearances in recent American history. But what Dr. Ann Burgess gave us today is something that investigations desperately need: a new direction. Look further back. Look at personal grievances. Look at who benefits not financially, but emotionally or psychologically. Look at who in Nancy Guthrie's orbit carries the kind of deep, whose slow-burning anger that doesn't show itself until it explodes. If you know anything at all, the number is 1-800-CALL-FBI. A real human being is waiting on the other end of that call, and somewhere out there, someone knows something. It only takes one person to decide that the truth matters more than their silence. We'll keep watching, we'll keep reporting, and we will not let Nancy Guthrie be forgotten.